This is Rock and Roll English. Real people, real English. Here's your host, Martin Johnston.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll English. Episode number 183, baby. Oh yeah. In today's episode I speak to Corporal Coma about, well, not a lot, really. As you know, normally I have a few things planned, things we're going to talk about. I do some research, about 5 minutes, but still, it's research. And then maybe you often feel a lot of energy because maybe sometimes I do a lot of the talking. I thought to myself, I do maybe too much talking. So this time it's more of a relaxed vibe. I spoke to Corporal Coma on Friday night, and we had been speaking for about an hour before we started the podcast in a nice relaxed vibe. And then we just hit record and we carried on the conversation where I had a few questions for Corporal Coma about age, about getting on a bit. So when you're getting on a bit, you're getting a bit old. And we also talk about the early stuff. For example, we share our earliest memories, and if you manage to not fall asleep when Corporal Coma shares his earliest memory, congratulations. Anyway, here is the conversation. I will speak to you all again at the end with the Rock and Roll English vocabulary, which is on the website rockandrollenglish.com/episode 183. And yes, I think there are still website problems. They seem to come and go. They stay for a few days and then they go, but don't worry, everything is safe. So yes, here is the conversation. Happy listening. Corporal Coma, how are you today?
I'm feeling really good, Martin. How are you feeling?
Well, you know me, Corporal Coma. I'm always fantastic. Even more fantastic, we are having this Friday night date, aren't we? Because we're recording this on a Friday on Skype. Corporal Coma's drinking a nice glass of white wine. I'm drinking a nice water. And it feels like we're on a romantic date, Coma.
It does. I mean, I've been enjoying it. We've also been talking for about easily an hour before this, which I think shows that we probably are actually friends.
It's a strange thing, isn't it? It's a strange thing. He did also use some really nice present perfect continuous there. We've been talking for an hour. That's some real sexy grammar, Corporal Coma. Anyway, how do we usually start the show?
We start with a review.
Do you think we have a review?
I'm going to go yes.
I'm sorry to put a dampener on everything, so to bring the mood down, but unfortunately we don't. All of those great reviews have finished now, so we're back to asking people, please leave reviews. I will get on my hands and knees, I've got no problems doing that. So please leave a review. Facebook, iTunes, wherever you want, just send it to me. But the silver lining of that, the good thing, is that we don't have to see the hashtag Martin almost 40 this week. So
I think you look all right. I think it's an unnecessary hashtag. I'm looking at you now. I can literally see you. There's no grey hairs in there. You got nice, thick, luscious hair.
Oh yeah, baby. Really healthy hair. Although I don't think anyone made a comment about my appearance. I think they were just talking about actual age. So when you just said to me, I think you look all right, it didn't really build my confidence very much. I didn't know people were saying that I don't look all right.
Well, this is, people say it to me. They're like, oh yeah, you're right, mate. You're fine. You don't look really old. And then that makes my day.
It's the small things in life these days, isn't it, that make your day, so that make you feel better. And so we're sort of moving this conversation on, actually. Just having a nice chat about age. Doing it a bit different today, just a simple chat like we were doing for the hour before. Just a nice simple chat, because I am a bit worried about that 40 now. You're still a whippersnapper, Corporal Coma. So a whippersnapper, a young person. You're the other side of 35. You're 34. So if we're rounding things, you're nearer to 30. I'm 35, nearer to 40. Also 36 this year.
Yeah, it's a good place to be. I thoroughly enjoy not being near a 40.
Your hashtag is coming too, pal. Your hashtag is coming too.
Well, I'm not on any social media, so it's totally pointless.
That's the great thing about hashtags. You don't need to be on social media. We can just make it anyway. So I've got some questions for you here, Corporal Comer. Like an interview, I'm going to interview you today. Okay. So what is your earliest memory, Corporal Comer?
I have a memory of being. Do you know what? I have a good. Do you think what you think is your earliest memory is actually your earliest memory?
Look, we haven't got time for philosophical shit, okay, Corporal Cohen? We only do a 20-minute podcast here.
No, so I've got this thing where I think my earliest memory, I was sitting on my stairs in a house and like my mum was saying something to me. But I'm pretty confident that I would have been way too young to actually remember that.
I thought this was actually going to like a good story, not of just I was sitting on the stairs and my mum was talking to me. The way you said that with such drama, there was a pause and I thought, fucking hell, something big is coming here. I'm ready. Then you were just sitting on the stairs and your mum said hello.
I mean, I think it's a very good point.
Very good. I'm not sure. My earliest memory, though, I remember quite vividly, is wetting the bed. So when you wet the bed, it's when you're sleeping and then you realise that you have pissed yourself. Obviously, I was quite young. I was 4, I think. I was sharing a bed with my brother as well, which was the which was the favourite part of it, I think, because I remember he started crying because I had just pissed on him. But
I don't think that warrants tears.
So some rock and roll vocabulary there. Warrants tears. It deserves tears. Okay, so let's move to the next one. You know, we're getting a bit older now. So what's your favourite thing to do, Corporal Comer?
You actually said this earlier and I said to you I refused to answer this because it was such a pointless, absolutely dreadful question. And I'm happy to put that on Rock and Roll English, that this was literally, it is the most pointless question in the world.
I thought you were talking about a different question because I did give Corporal Comer a bit of a heads up here. So when you give someone a heads up, you give them a little bit of a warning. So I just sent him 3 questions and said, look, have a think about these just because I don't want to catch you off guard. So when you catch someone off guard, they're not prepared for it. So that's why I sent him the earliest memory thing, because I was expecting something good. Obviously, we didn't get that. But also, it was this question that you didn't like. I thought that was a good question. You know, I sometimes tell myself, Corporal Comer, that I'm the best podcaster in the world. Okay, I think to myself, I have to believe it. Okay, and I must admit, you telling me my questions are absolutely shit really isn't helping my confidence.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for you. Like, I really like you, but fuck me, that is absolutely terrible.
Well, I like to talk about things I like to do.
What is your favourite thing in the world?
Now I'm hashtag almost 40. My favourite thing is just sitting. I just love a bit of sitting. Sometimes as well, I'll be sitting in a lesson and someone says, I have to write something on the board. And I just think, I just don't know if I can get up from this seat. I think I'm just going to stay here and maybe not write it. I might even write it on a piece of paper for them, just so I don't have to stand up and walk 2 steps.
I mean, okay.
So moving on to the next one. Do you concentrate more now on your body and what you eat and stuff like this? You know, we're getting older. Do you look after yourself a bit more? Or do you still eat burger and chips in a can, which is what Corporal Comer used to eat for lunch when we were teenagers?
No, I'd actually say I eat very healthily these days. Very much purely from Mrs. Corporal Comer. I mean, you can see on the picture now, Martin, I'm the picture of health.
Absolute picture of health. I think your 1 week without drinking helped as well. What about physical activity? What about that?
No, that's not for me. So, yeah. Yeah, one day. I think I've agreed to play squash with someone probably in 2021. So,
Squash is a game in England. It's quite difficult to describe. Let's say it's you have a racket in squash. So let's say it's like tennis, but it's not that much like tennis. I signed up to the gym a few months ago, so I've been there pumping iron, lifting weights, and I get there at 7 o'clock in the morning, and the only person there is the cleaner at that time because it actually opens at 9 o'clock. And I was there the other day, and the cleaner was in another room. And I just finished like a few repetitions of lifting weights. And it's like in those few seconds afterwards where you feel like you're the Incredible Hulk. And I thought I was just going to my muscles were going to come through my T-shirt. And then just for a second, I started sort of flexing my muscles in the mirror. So flexing, sort of just checking to see if they were bigger, because that's the classic thing. You go to the gym one time and you think, oh God, that's it, now my body's perfect. And I was just sort of just checking my muscles in the mirror, and then I saw the cleaner was looking at me, looking at my muscles.
But was she smiling?
I mean, it was a man, and he was laughing a lot.
Was he bigger than you?
Of course he was bigger than me. Anyone older than 14 is bigger than me.
Good point, yeah. Anyone that's hit puberty is bigger than you, yeah. So
yeah, and it like you telling me my questions were shit doesn't help me with my podcast confidence. Having the cleaner laugh at you, laughing at your body, didn't really do much for my gym confidence either.
See, if I was going to a gym, my thing would be to reduce some parts of my body, not to increase parts of my body.
Yeah, considering my arms, I mean, I've got students who I sometimes see with a short sleeve T-shirt on that are 10, and I think he's got more muscles than me.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, my arm, but I mean, going to the gym is surely about getting rid of your stomach.
Yeah, well, it's just to look healthy, Koma. Like I said, I'm looking at 10-year-olds thinking, I wish I had that body.
That is actually, I mean, that is mental. That is absolutely mad. I've never looked at a 10-year-old.
But notice when I said I wish I had the body of a 10-year-old, some rock and roll grammar there. But I don't think you've looked at enough 10-year-olds, Corporal Koma, because believe me, there are some that are ripped, have really muscly bodies. I mean, I haven't seen all of their bodies, I want to say, just their arms.
You've not been taking videos of them again, have you?
Oh, I haven't done that in years, okay? That was a joke. Just in case anyone thinks I have been making videos of 10-year-olds, definitely have not done that, okay? The next question here, do you attend more or less social events now? Someone invites you for a drink, for a party, something like that. Maybe a few years ago, you would always say, yeah, sure. What about now?
Yeah, I'd say probably less. Yeah, I'd be like, oh, I don't want to feel hungover the next day, or I can't be bothered. So yeah, one of the two.
Can't be bothered, so I haven't got the energy. Yeah, I mean, for me, something like a social event that is enough for me to actually leave my house at the weekend, believe me, it has to be something big, really big.
Basically, you're getting married, otherwise you're not leaving.
Even then, I'm thinking twice. Do I want to really go to this, or shall I just stay in? I don't know. I really don't.
It's a tricky one.
And then even when I actually do go to one of these social events, or, you know, try and be sociable, I'm just waiting for the moment. I'm thinking, right, okay, what's the minimum time I can stay here? And then as soon as that time passes, I'll just do that classic thing of you just put your hands on your thighs, on your legs, and just sort of go, right, I think I'd better be off now.
Honestly, even if like bear in mind you would travel to London and I don't see you that much, once it got to about 11 o'clock and I've got bored of talking to you, I'd be like, how can I get home now? How can I literally get to the point where I don't have to talk to him anymore? Because I'm going to talk to him next week anyway. You know.
Oh, I feel you. Yeah.
All of my friends, I'm like, when is it acceptable to just go, I don't want to talk to you anymore?
That's enough. That's enough. Just stop. So when you just put your hands down on your legs and go, "Rah," you always make that sound. Well, anyway, there we go. If I hit my legs, and then the excuse comes of like, anyway, I've got to go because I'm making dinner. It's 2:00 in the morning, but I'm making dinner. I need to.
When someone does it to you, do you know that they're doing it to you? That's a good question.
I know. I can see straight through it, so I understand immediately. But I'm happy as well. Usually when that happens to me, I'm thinking it as well. So, you know.
See, because you know, I'm more of a, I quite like to stay out a bit later. But when someone does it to me and it's like 8:00, you're like, they just want to go home. I must literally be boring them now.
Yeah. Again, not great for the confidence. This whole podcast isn't great for your confidence.
No, it's a kick in the pants.
Yeah, exactly. So a strange one here, but I found on the age questions. Are you more protective of things? Maybe even lending something. Maybe in the past someone wanted to borrow a book or something like that. In the past, maybe said, yeah, and then people don't give your books back, which I've found a lot. So then now, even so, the other day, we were going out in the morning, and Mrs. Rock and Roll English got dressed, and then she put on my hype jumper, which if anyone's ever seen a picture of me on social media, I'm wearing that hype jumper, a red hype jumper, and she, like nothing had happened. Just said, okay, so what time we leaving? And I was like, whoa, what the fuck do you think you're doing? She was like, what do you mean? I said, you're wearing my jumper. She said, yeah, it's not a problem, is it? And I was thinking, I know we're getting married and stuff, but I'm not ready to share my hype jumper with anyone.
I mean, she's also a normal sized woman and you're a tiny man. Does that actually fit her?
Well, that's the great thing about the hype jumper, Corporal Coma, is it's baggy. So if something's baggy, it's a little bit big for you, really comfortable. And so it's comfortable at home, so I'll wear it when I'm at home. You go out, it's comfortable. That's the thing as well, getting older, I sort of, when I was younger, maybe I chose clothes that maybe looked good. Now I go for comfort over fashion.
Well, we saw a picture the other day, didn't we? Someone put on the... a group that we're all part of, and you were wearing a shirt where I think you only had one button done up, so you were essentially like a stripper.
Not only did I only have about 1 or 2 buttons done up, so notice we have buttons done up, but I also had this thick gold chain because that was I think it was in my gangster days when I was just going around on the street shooting people and like having sex with loads of girls, like doing that kind of thing. So that was just how I was rolling, Corporal Coma.
I think you were mainly getting punched in the face by bigger people. That was about all you did at that point.
Look, that happened twice. That's only happened twice in my whole life. It just happened to be in a short space of time. So notice there, a short space of time. I got punched 2 times in like a couple of months, and then it just stuck. Okay, everyone just thought I was a human punch bag. Good luck to them.
If they wanted to steal your shirt, it was very easy because you only had one button done up, so they could just whip it off you, and probably your chain that would come with it.
You know what? I think actually one of the times I got punched, someone was punching me, and I didn't know what was going on, and then I actually, when I was sort of running away, realised I didn't have a top on anymore.
But I mean, you were in a club a few times without a top on, weren't you? If you remember correctly.
I've always liked to show my muscly body, and nothing has changed. Okay.
Yeah.
So we do have one more here, though. Now you're older, do you get excited by smaller things like what's on TV, or maybe like a parcel arriving at work? How about that?
I'm once again going to say the quality of the website that you use for these things is
that's
fucking
a brilliant
shit.
question. Who doesn't get excited when you get a parcel at work? If you've got an Amazon thing coming, you're like, oh, fucking hell, whoa, got a book.
I know what it is, and it will be like candles or some bollocks that I don't care about.
have the same, but I'm still excited. In fact, only a week or so ago, I had this fucking massive parcel on my desk and everyone was like, fucking hell, have you seen Martin's parcel? It was massive.
Are we still talking about the Amazon parcel? Or?
It was, yeah, an Amazon parcel. I knew what it was. It was a slow cooker, okay? Which, you know, is an exciting thing to get when you're nearly 40, okay? So you can just put your dinner in that slow cooker before you go to work, switch it on, come back from work, boom, shakalaka, you've got your dinner ready.
I mean, welcome to 2014.
Things happen later here. I mean, we've even got contactless now here, Corporal Coma, so you can pay, you know, just contactless.
Amazing. I mean, go you.
Yep. Hello, 2020. Anyway, it has been wonderful talking to you about just age in general, just a nice chat, although you haven't done much for my podcast confidence.
Yeah, I feel like I've given you a bit of a hard time in this one, which is a fair reflection on every time we spend together.
So when you give someone a hard time, it's when you're not so nice to them. Exactly. So a fair reflection of our relationship. Thank you very much, Corporal Coma.
Okay. Well, I've enjoyed it.
Well, that's the important thing. That's the only important thing. Anyway, I'm sure we will speak to you again very soon.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right.
Okay, so that was me talking to Corporal Coma about not a lot, really. So let's have a look at some of that rock and roll vocabulary. At the beginning, I said, I'm sorry to put a dampener on everything when we were talking about the review, and Corporal Coma said he thought we had a review, and I said, unfortunately not. So I killed the vibe, let's say. There was a good vibe and I killed it. That's putting a dampener on something. We spoke about the silver lining. So the only good thing was that we didn't have the Martin Almost 40 hashtag. Corporal Coma said, I have nice luscious hair. So luscious hair in this situation, like healthy hair. You look at that and think, oh, wow. Sure, that's me. I use natural shampoo just in case you're interested. Okay, so we also had the term make your day, a nice term. I know you know what that means. I'm just reminding you. I then called Corporal Coma a whippersnapper. So a whippersnapper is someone that is young. A new footballer, for example, a 17-year-old who starts playing football is a whippersnapper. I then said I had given Corporal Coma a bit of a heads up about a couple of the questions. So if you give someone a heads up, you give them an indication. You don't tell them everything about what's going to happen. You just maybe give them a warning, because normally I don't ask such direct questions of like, what's your earliest memory? So I just gave him a bit of a heads up, a bit of a warning. Obviously, I was hoping for a better answer, but, you know, you can't win them all. And because I said I didn't want to catch him off guard. So if you catch someone off guard, they are not prepared. If you say to me, okay, Martin, what has been the best day of your life so far? I would say, whoa, slow down. You've caught me off guard. I need to think about it. I spoke about being in the gym and pumping iron. So when you pump iron, you lift a lot of weights and you do a lot of reps, which we say for repetitions, because we haven't got time to say repetitions. We've got a lot of things to do, haven't we? Then we had the word flexing when I said I was flexing my muscles. So when you're flexing, it's when you're tensing your muscles and probably in the mirror. But unless you've actually got muscles, do it in private when no one else is looking. I said that some 10-year-olds I know are ripped. So if you are ripped, you are extremely muscly, like Dan the Man. Corporal Coma said sometimes he just can't be bothered to talk to people. So when you can't be bothered, you haven't got the energy. And we were talking about the tactic to get away from someone. And I said, yes, I can see straight through it. I can understand immediately. We were talking about my jumper, and I said that it's baggy. So if it's baggy, it's big. Very common in the 90s. Baggy clothes were very, very common. We then spoke about the shirt with my buttons, and we said the buttons were done up. So you have to do your buttons up. A phrasal verb just for buttons. Can you believe that? We have a word just for buttons in English. And then I was talking about getting punched in the face. Corporal Coma always talks about that, doesn't he? And I said it just happened to be in a short space of time, so in a short period. And remember, all of this rock and roll vocabulary is on the website rockandrollenglish.com, episode 183. I will talk to you all again next week, people, but in the meantime, just keep on rocking, baby.
Thanks so much for listening to Rock and Roll English. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit rockandrollenglish.com and facebook.com/rockandrollenglish. We'll catch you next time.